Welcome to this presentation where I'm going to present you the interest of teaching taxation through an experiment. My name is Emmanuelle Deglaire. I am a tax teacher and I have designed this experiment with the help of two colleagues, Peter Daly, who is specialized in pedagogy, and Fabrice Lelec, who is operating economical behavior experiment. We have been able to go till the end of this project with the support of three institutions. First of all, the PILAB. The PILAB is the Pedagogical Innovation Lab of the EDHEC Business School. The Anthropolab, who is operating experimental anthropologic experiment, and the Augmented Law Institute of the EDHEC Business School. All the strengths of this experiment relies on the multidisciplinary side. First of all, it's a tax experiment that permits the student to discover the rules of taxation, but also they find out the economical side of taxation. Also, we have a strong focus on pedagogy. We will use also the data collected all along the experiment for research purpose. Also, the students are able, because they interact one with the other, to understand the sociological part of taxation. And finally, we have here a clear focus on ethics. The idea of this experiment came out of 15 years of experience of teaching taxation. And when you want to go from the theoretical part of taxation to move to the technical side of taxation with the student and to end up with what is done in practice, I found it odd that studying the tax evasion scheme of big law firms was very interesting, as it could match the three sides of my pedagogy. But then I ended with that question: Madame, why all the companies do not do the same? And here I was facing a real issue. So for me, this experiment appears as a great opportunity for the student to face what would be the world if everyone was doing the same. And from a pedagogical point of view, I love this quote from Benjamin Franklin: "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learned." This is exactly the purpose of this tax experiment, is to involve the student into the process of paying taxes. Instead of teaching them the economy of taxation from a theoretical point of view, I have preferred to move to behavioral economy and to involve them. This is how was born this tax experiment. And this approach is so innovative that it opened a new field of research. We already had the pleasure to present our research during several conferences, and we have several papers already on progress. We have now run those experiments for the past 4 years. And here is an example of how this experiment can be integrated into a lecture. First, we start by a survey to question the student perception of taxation. How do they consider they would behave facing a tax decision? Then I start with a short introduction about the basics of taxation. What is a tax? Why have the tax been created? And very, very general concepts. Then we do run the experiment itself. We end up with a long debrief and an analysis of what has happened. And finally, we end up with a survey asking the same question to the student. How do they consider they would behave facing a tax decision? And the outcomes are very interesting. Let me now present you the experiment itself. First of all, the students are divided into several universes made of 5 students, 1 A student, 2 B student, and 2 C student. And the entire class is divided this way. During the first stage, students are going to play for 6 rounds. The first decision is that the A student will decide of the tax rate that's going to be applied within its universe. Then B and C student will receive an income from the system and will have to declare that income, yes or no. Then A is going to receive the taxes paid by the B and C and will have to decide if he wishes to redistribute it or not. Then B and C will receive what A is wishing to redistribute. You have to know that there will be a multiplication of 1.7 of the amount that has been paid by B and C's, okay, which correspond to what you can afford when you are making an effort altogether compared to what you can't afford when you are on your own. This is the group effect. You have to know that the student have 1 chance out of 10 to face a tax audit. You have also to know that in the case of a tax audit, the penalty will be 3 times. You also have to know that if the state was to receive less than 100 points in the system, the entire universe would get bankrupt, means that the state would receive nothing, and B and C would lose the money they have received during that round. Finally, I've already explained the 1.7 coefficient. After the first stage, the students are invited to move to a second stage, which is going to be almost the same, except that here, the B student will have the opportunity to change the universe they have been in at the beginning. And so here, we introduce the concept of tax competition. To be really concrete, here is how the experiment takes place. First round, the student A will have the right to decide about the percentage that will be applied to their group. In the meantime, B and C students will receive a notification that they just have to wait for that decision to be made. Then it will be to B and C's to play the game. And here we have the example of a C student who received 306 points in a universe that is facing a 44% rate. And now it's the moment when he has to declare how much money he's going to pay taxes on. On this round, we are facing a lawful student who has decided to comply and has declared its entire income. Then it's now B to play, and he receives the taxes that all the participants have paid, the B and C student, and has the power to decide of how much he wishes to redistribute to his colleagues. Moving to the second round, the student will have to go through the same decision process, and they will find out how richer they become round after round. This year again, I will have the great pleasure to run one of those experiments with my student, and the English session is going to take place on January 29th, 9 a.m. for the first group and 1 p.m. for the second group. If you're wishing to join us, don't hesitate to send me an email. This year, because of the COVID, we are facing new challenges because we have to organize it 100% online. But this is also a great opportunity because I can invite you to join me. And just for your information, last year, we received a 95% satisfaction rate from the student. We were really proud of that, and we are looking for the satisfaction rate this year. If you have any question, don't hesitate. Here is my email.